Okay, good afternoon, and welcome to our June 23rd Civil Service Commission meeting. May we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Coleman?
Here.
Commissioner Devine?
Here.
Gantis?
Yes.
Gregorian?
Yes, here.
Manukian?
Yes, here. We're going to move some items on the agenda because due to my son's graduation, I'm going to have to leave right after this item, and Vice Chairman Devine will go ahead and take over the meeting after that. We're going to go ahead and move item number 7, report on meeting minutes preparation, to the next item. Hi there.
Hello, Mr. Chair, members of the Commission. This item is a report on meeting minutes preparation. Commissioner Devine requested this item be brought back. It was brought up 2 years ago, requesting to move away from our current practice of providing detailed minutes to having action minutes only. At that time, the Commission chose to retain the detailed minutes format, and we've continued to this present time. This item is for Commission's consideration and appropriate action.
Okay. Mr. Devine.
Yes,
I'm sorry. Yes, Mr. Coleman.
I just have a quick comment. On this particular issue, quite frankly, don't really care whether or not we have detailed or action minutes. So I'd prefer to go with the majority on this, and I'm going to request that I vote last on this.
Okay. Mr. Devine.
okay. As mentioned, I did bring this up some time ago, a couple of years ago, and at that time it was the wishes of the majority of the Commission to stick with the detailed minutes. Since that time, we've been getting minutes. They've generally been very, very good, but I still believe that because of the amount of time it takes to prepare the minutes, the staff time that's used, plus the fact that the minutes we do get aren't always totally accurate. And if push comes to shove and one needs to find out what was really said at a commission meeting, you'd really have to go back to the tapes or the CDs or the streaming on the video to find out the true content of the minutes. So with those two things in mind, the time it takes to prepare the minutes and the fact that they really cannot be relied upon for any legal or any use that you need to have a detail or a explanation of what really happened, I'd like to bring it back and see if we can get a consensus on going to the action minutes. The package that was prepared shows the difference between the action minutes and a typical set of detailed minutes, and you can see there's quite a difference. And I think for our purposes here that the action minutes would certainly serve a purpose. So with that in mind, I would ask my colleagues to comment on it and hopefully agree to go back to go to the action minutes.
Okay. Fellow commissioners? Commissioner Gregorian?
Well, I agree with Commissioner Devine, particularly in the time that it takes to produce the detailed minutes, and that's one of the reasons why I'm leaning towards action minutes.
I agree 100% also, because I think no matter as good as a job Sandra does, still our meetings go on for hours and hours, and sometimes no matter what she does, it still doesn't reflect exactly what took place. So if anybody needs to get that detailed, they can always go to the videotape. Commissioner Gregorian, what are your thoughts?
Well, I'm a person who think about the detail. So especially this is a Civil Service Commission. I mean, we get it minutes about 10 days after the meeting, so we forget most of the time. So due to the fact that it's Wednesday today, so a week from Friday, normally we get the minutes, don't we? Is that correct?
But the video is available from the next day.
I understand, but videos, most of the time you want to go back, sit down in a library or someplace to look at the videos and see who says, and 2 hours sitting to watch the videos, right down to 2 minutes or 5 minutes to read the minutes. I believe that the way that it's happening is very good, and if it was a different commission, like Park and Rec and BZA, yes. But we did have the same system at Water and Power. We never had any problem. And the point is that 6 months down the road, 5 months down the road, 4 months down the road, when I will look back on the minutes, because we have in our possession, is a kind of a library for me. And I can go back and check to see everything is right or wrong, or discussions, or what was the reason if I say something or Mr. Commissioner Roy says something. So this kind of, it is flashback idea that we can go and look at it. So I firmly believe that, yes, staff is, maybe they are doing, more work, but we appreciate whatever they're doing, and this is a kind of a reference for us. So I'm sorry, Mr. Devine, so...
Okay. No, we want to know what everybody thinks. Commissioner Gantis, what are your thoughts?
I was just consulting with our legal counsel about subparagraph B of Section 7, which talks about the approval and dissent that of a particular action, and the fact that, and I quote, "A commissioner may record in the minutes their approval of or dissent from any action of the commission together with their reasons therefor." My initial reaction was that this required that what we've been doing, which is what Sandra has been doing, and writing down with if Commissioner Carrion, or Commissioner Devine or Commissioner Manukian said a certain thing, that was required. But then as I was discussing this with our counsel and in further thought, I think any motion that would be made would need a requirement that if, in fact, a commissioner requested, because I think that's what this says, requested that his or her vote and or reasons, those would have to be included in the minutes in accordance with 7B. I don't know if I didn't quite get to conclude what our counsel thought about it, but I would think that would be the appropriate way to handle this motion.
Mrs.
I would agree with that.
Okay.
Could you mark that down, that our counsel agreed with me for a change? That's good news.
Historical moment in time.
Historical.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Devine, you want to make a motion?
I would make a motion that the commission change from the detailed minutes to the action minutes, with the provision mentioned by Commissioner Gantis that if a commissioner, in making a motion, wants his detailed or his an explanation of his reasoning included, that be done.
Do I have a
At the
second?
request of the commission.
Just as a correction, what you mean is a commissioner, when voting on a particular issue, either approval or denial, wishes his reasons to be included, that they'll be included. Isn't that what you meant to say?
That's exactly
Second.
what I meant to say.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Can we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Devine,
Yes.
Commissioner Gantis,
Yes.
Commissioner Gregorian,
Abstain.
Holman,
Yes.
Manukian.
Yes. And at this point, I will turn the meeting over to Co-Chairman Devine. Thank you. You guys have a good day.
Thank you. Good luck to your son on his graduation. But is he graduating from kindergarten, or what's?
Yes, exactly. 6th grade.
No, that's good.
Okay, we'll go back to our regular agenda. The second item is the minutes.
I
I
run.
have a motion for approval of or changes to the minutes.
I have a question before that, Mr. Devine. Do you have any corrections to these?
I do not.
I move to approve.
Second?
Roll call.
Commissioner Coleman,
Yes.
Gantis,
Yes.
Gregorian,
Yes.
Devine.
Yes.
And for the record, Commissioner
Manukian.
Manukian left the dais.
Okay, next item.
Oral communications.
I have no cards, so we'll assume there is no oral communication. Next item, please.
Eligible list established.
Mr. Chair.
Vivian?
Thank you. Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, this item is for information only, which outlines the eligible list established by staff since our last meeting. These include the Senior Administrative Analyst position, as well as the Principal Mechanical Engineer position for Glendale Water and Power. Both recruitments were promotional. Staff is available to answer any questions you may have. If not, this is a note and file item.
Are there any comments or questions from the Commission?
Yes, I have a comment, Mr. Devine. So far, I think Ms. Manukian, in substituting for Mr. Doyle, has done an excellent job. That was a beautiful report.
So,
Ms. Hunanian.
Funanian. I knew her name was wrong somewhere. I'm not feeling well today.
any more explanation? Maybe you have a hidden agenda? Would like to.
Any other comments on that item?
I second to that.
Okay, there's no action required. Next item, please.
Revised class specification for approval, police shift supervisory series.
Okay, Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, this item is for your approval. It is the revised class specification for the Police Shift Supervisory Series, which encompasses the positions of Police Communication Shift Supervisor and Police Custody Shift Supervisor. These are the first-line supervisory positions within the custody and communications bureaus within the Glendale Police Department. The proposed revisions to the Police Communication Shift Supervisor position reflect updated language to maintain compliance with the training requirements for the dispatch supervisory position with the California Commission of Peace Officer Standards and Training, or also known as POST. The proposed revision to the Police Custody Shift Supervisor position seeks to modify the typing requirement, which lowers it from 30 words per minute to 20 words per minute, given the changes in requirements and responsibilities. Juan Lopez, Jail Administrator, and Police Lieutenant Kim Lardy, who oversees the Police Communications Center, are here, as well as Russ Kwan, who worked on the class specification.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments from Mr. Gantis?
Mr. Chairman, as I recall, I believe this was here, it was here in 2005, and as I recall, the vote was to defeat it until it was changed to keep the 30 words per minute typing, and then we approved it. I'm not going to, I was voting against the reduction in typing then. I will vote against the reduction. I do not vote for a reduction in speed typing. I understand what the computer does, but the bottom line is they have to type in names, and if we don't have somebody that can type 30 words a minute, I don't think that person should be doing this. So I will vote against this as long as it has 20 words a minute. I think at the last time we amended it to 30 and then it passed. But I will vote against it to any time we reduce any of the required functions.
Any reason that you want to bring down this from 30 to 20? I mean,
Well, the reason for the change is that the requirements and the responsibilities of the position have changed. Russ Kwan, the human resources analyst assigned to the police department, did a job analysis and determined that the requirement is basically not necessary, the 30 words per minute. Furthermore, the custody position, which basically this particular position, the shift supervisor oversees the custody, the community service officer custody, that also requires a 20 words per minute. In addition, Mr. Kwan contacted our neighboring agencies, including both Burbank and Pasadena, and actually those agencies do not have any requirement for typing for the supervisor's position. But Mr. Kwan is here to answer any questions that you may have.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission, Russ Kwan, Human Resources Analyst. I did do a job analysis on the typing requirement as well as essential functions for the position of Police Custody Shift Supervisor. Essentially, the position does require a fair amount of computer knowledge, tremendous amount of computer familiarity. However, the computer systems that are used in the jail facility are primarily touch screen operated, where a custody officer just needs to touch a few buttons on the computer terminal to open jail doors, or in booking prisoners, where they just have to enter individuals' names as well as addresses into the computer database. Mr. Gantis, to address your concern, primarily most of the data entry is completed by the community service officer, the line level worker. The typing requirement for that position is 20 words per minute. What we're looking to do is make the supervisor position consistent in terms of typing requirement, because in my observation of the individual's job, there isn't a whole lot of difference between what the supervisor does in terms of computer functionality, in terms of what the supervisor does and what the CSO does. And to a certain extent, the supervisor does have to complete daily activity reports. However, they're very short. They're anywhere between, I would say, 5 to 6 bullet points, depending on how busy that day is, and they're given their entire shift to complete that whole report.
So,
Mr. Coleman.
how much time does the police custody shift supervisor actually spend typing on a daily
It
or
honestly,
shift?
it honestly varies, Mr. Coleman. Basically, if there's an
I'm
incident...
sure it does, but just give me an approximation.
I can have Mr. Lopez, our jail administrator, come up to better explain some things like the incident reports and daily activity log. But in terms of how much time they spend on it, when I was observing, there was maybe, for that 1.5 hours I was there was maybe about 5 to 10 minutes on the computer.
Okay, that's good enough for me. I move to approve.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Coleman,
Yes.
Devine,
Yes.
Gantis.
No.
Gregorian.
Yes.
The next item, please.
Revised class specification for approval, street maintenance series.
Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, this item is for your approval. It is the revised class specification for the street maintenance series. The most significant change relates to enhanced leadership expectations for the street crew supervisor. In addition, the revisions clarify the essential functions for the senior street maintenance supervisor position. Dan Hartgrove, the interim maintenance services administrator, is here to answer any questions you may have, as is Rosie Akopian, who worked on the class specification.
Any questions or comments on this revision?
Move to approve.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Coleman,
Yes.
Gantis.
Yes.
Gregorian.
Yes.
Devine.
Yes. Next item.
Agenda forecast. Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, this item outlines the agenda forecast for the upcoming months. Throughout the upcoming months, we will be bringing forth various class specifications as we proceed with our project of revising them. We have noted that during our next meeting, Chair Manukian will be absent. I also believe that he'll be absent during the July 28th meeting as well.
It's my understanding that he's going to be absent July 14th and the 28th. Is that what you just said?
Yes.
Bad ear.
Also, I
Caught me.
Candace said you were taking off some time. Is that going to be for those two meetings?
No.
Or
I will be, I would never not be here to make sure that I'm on top of you folks. I just make sure. I will be gone, but not,
that's short.
not those. I will be gone in July, but not those meetings.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions or comments on the agenda forecast? Okay, next item.
Reports and information.
There's nothing listed there. Any next item?
Civil Service Commission and our staff comments.
Anyone have any comments?
I don't believe we have a closed session. Move to adjourn.
Second?
So be it.